1 minute. Sound will be next. 15. 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and sound.
Right now at 5, 3 children killed in Miami
Open
after getting
next.
trapped inside a burning home. A Miami Dolphins player spends the night in jail. What's behind this mugshot?
I'm meteorologist Seth Gonzalez. A cold front will be moving in New Year's Eve. I'll have your forecast ahead.
Testing in Times Square.
This year is all about looking forward, celebrating a new year and a brand new decade.
Preparations for the final ball drop of the decade. CBS 4 News at 5 starts right now.
And there's the open.
This is CBS 4 News
Sound under
at
next.
5.
Right now it's 5.
No,
A South
second.
Florida community in mourning.
3 next.
Tonight, an investigation after 3 children are killed in a house fire.
And Q.
Neighbors tried desperately to pull those children out of danger, but the flames were simply too intense.
Everything about this story is heartbreaking. CBS 4's Joan Murray is live outside that home in Miami tonight where crews continue digging through debris looking for clues. Joan?
Double.
Yeah, it is just so sad. Take a look behind me. It happened here in the 3600 block of Northwest
Package
18th Terrace about 11:30 this morning. There were so many desperate attempts to get to these children who were trapped in that burning home, but they were not successful.
154.
It was a desperate rush to save the lives of children pulled from a house fire.
We have confirmed that 3 of the 4 children have passed away.
Miami Fire Rescue said they were at the home in the 3600 block of Northwest 18th Terrace within 4 minutes of getting the 911 call.
When firefighters arrived, we understood that there was heavy smoke that was coming from the rear of the house. And we were also being told that there was people inside. As firefighters made their way in, they searched the house, found 4 children, ages 1 through 12, in the house, unresponsive.
Out of this
We do
one,
know
tag
that
HD1.
firefighters did everything they
That
could to
animation
try to
of
revive
Reed
these kids.
Elliott.
And it's something tragic that we have confirmed that 3 of the 4 kids have passed away at this time.
2 adult women were also transported, but it's not clear what their relationship is to the children. A firefighter also was treated for smoke inhalation.
It was very sad seeing that they were like my age.
Melanie Brasino and her mother lived doors away and heard screams coming from the burning home.
I was just praying because it was devastating. And when they took the girl out, that I believe she's like 12 years old, she goes in the same bus that my daughter goes, and it was devastating.
One neighbor tried in vain to find the children through the dense smoke. Others started smashing windows
A
to
lot of
free them.
illegal,
We tried to see
permitted
if we
stuff,
could pull some
unpermitted
kids through the
stuff
window
there.
or something, but nothing. Like we couldn't see anything. We stick the head and everything. And then just as we were coming out, the firemen, they just came and we just let them do their work.
It's not clear how the fire started or where the children were found.
It's so sad. If anybody has kids, if anybody has grandchildren, brothers, sisters, you know how hard this is. And just a day before the new year.
And Q.
It's a terribly, terribly sad end, and as he pointed out, just more than a day before the start of the new year. So we do not know the ages of the children who passed away. Again, all we were told is the 4 children were between the ages of 1 and 12, and we are not sure about the condition of that 4th child. We are told that the 2 women are expected to be okay, as well as the firefighter. Reporting in Miami, Joan
Mike's
Murray,
open.
CBS 4 News.
Joan, thank you for that. We're following a developing story right now. Police are investigating after a teenager and a 7-year-old passenger were injured during a shooting in Miami. Chopper 4 is over the scene earlier this afternoon. It happened near Northwest
animation
2nd
next to
Court and
the,
77th Street. Police say both the teenager and a 7-year-old passenger were taken to the hospital. The teen was shot. The 7-year-old was injured by broken glass caused by one of the bullets. CBS 4's Ty Russell is at the scene working the story. We'll have a live update from him on CBS 4 News at 6. So right now we have new details into the arrest of Miami Dolphins player Xavier Howard. Howard is out of jail tonight. Police say he and his fiancée got into a fight over a purse, and the fight escalated.
CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live outside Dolphin Camp tonight in Davie with much more on this story. Ted.
Diana and Elliott, tonight the Miami Dolphins are not saying very much about this whole situation. During a scheduled news conference today, Coach Flores said the team is gathering information before figuring out how they're going to deal with this.
Package up.
What happened?
Miami Dolphins star quarterback Xavier Howard not answering questions, but domestic violence allegations as he's released from the Broward County Jail.
So you are before the court this morning on one charge of potential strike battery?
Howard appeared in bond court after his Sunday night arrest. Police say he got into an argument with his fiancée. They have 3 children together.
The allegation was that he had pushed her into a door, standing mirror, and threw her down on the floor. Some evidence that was consistent with some sort of struggle going on, some smear marks on the mirror, some slight bruises and scratches too.
Photos on social media show Howard as a happy family guy. His fiancée said just after 9 Sunday night is when the trouble began.
We're being told that the argument started when the girlfriend found something of a purse, possibly a gift, that was most likely not given to her, either on a receipt or a credit card statement. That's where it all stems from.
Howard limped out of the jail on crutches. He's been on injured reserve since October after sustaining a knee injury during a game. He is currently the highest paid defensive back in football, striking a $76 million 5-year deal. The Dolphins are not saying much about the arrest.
We take these things very seriously. We'll gather all the information and do what we feel is best for the organization.
And you.
And Howard was released this afternoon on $3,000 bond. He is also not allowed to have any contact with his fiancée. And Dave,
mics are open.
CBS 4 News.
Ted, thanks. Right now at 5, a live look outside as the clouds begin to clear after yet another gloomy and damp evening here in South Florida. But really, what everybody wants to know about is how does it look for New Year's Eve?
Yeah, it looks pretty nice from that picture. CBS 4's Lisette Gonzalez is here with the all-important holiday forecast. Hi, Lisette.
Hey, Elliot and Diane. And yeah, most of the day has been cloudy and wet, although beginning to see some peaks of sunshine now as we head into the evening. Not the best beach day, dealing with rough surf, elevated risk of rip currents too, but these folks, they're okay. They're going to be out there, rain or shine, making the most of the day, regardless of the weather. It's warm though and muggy, 80 degrees in Miami, 79 in Fort Lauderdale and in Key West, and we still have a few showers and sprinkles lingering across parts of Broward County, just north of Lighthouse Point. Also seeing a few showers near Miami Beach and Key Biscayne, as well as earlier across the Keys, but now clearing out as well. In fact, we've only picked up 4/100ths of an inch of rain in Homestead, 1/100th of an inch of rain in Miami. So it's been mostly drizzle and light showers courtesy of this cold front, which is on the way and set to move in as we head throughout the day tomorrow. And by New Year's Eve tomorrow evening, we are going to see cooler and drier weather take over. By New Year's Day, we're going to be kicking off 2020 with pleasant sunshine, seasonal temperatures. More on that ahead.
Lisette, thank you. Now at 5, the sewage leaks in 3 Fort Lauderdale neighborhoods have stopped, but residents want to know what the city is going to do about the problem in the future. Members of the community attended a meeting with city leaders over the weekend. They voiced their concerns about the city's aging infrastructure and rapid development. The leaks have affected Rio Vista, Beverly Heights, and Victoria Park, and residents of those neighborhoods want the city to invest more on improving the city's sewage system and to do it sooner rather than later. The city says $600 million will be used over the next 5 years to install a brand new sewage system.
In news across America tonight, some people who came to church carrying firearms are now being credited with saving lives. after a gunman opened fire inside the West Freeway Church of Christ in White Settlement, Texas, Sunday morning. Investigators saying that gunman was shot and killed by an armed guard within seconds of opening fire. That guard was allowed to carry the weapon as part of a brand new law that took effect back in September.
CBS 4's Mireya Villarreal is outside the church with the latest.
Good for him.
And that's when I took the shot.
Volunteer Security Director Jack Wilson is being hailed as a hero for taking down a gunman Sunday inside the West Freeway Church of Christ.
No weather team.
And that's where I'm at now. Again, I'm just very cautious. I took out someone that was evil and had evil intent.
Armed congregants, members of a church security team, confronted the shooter just seconds after he pulled a shotgun from his pants and killed 2 parishioners.
This church responded in seconds and reacted and saved the lives of potentially the rest of the people in that church. What Travis told us, well over 200 people.
Church members identified the victims as Richard White and Tony Wallace.
We lost 2 great men today. But it could have been a lot worse.
The FBI is working with local and state investigators to figure out what may have motivated the shooter.
So my understanding is they didn't necessarily have a direct connection. He'd been here, I think, several times, and they always are. I think, from my understanding, they're very open to helping people that are transient or homeless, and probably going to be very difficult to determine exactly what his motivations were, other than maybe mental illness.
Isabel Ariola and her family noticed the man sitting toward the back of the church.
Oh my God,
I
that's
don't
so
feel
scary.
comfortable. I said he was just, was giving me bad vibes.
She was within feet of the gunman when he started shooting.
I tell my husband, let's go and
Just
my
three when you
baby.
get a chance.
And I said, I'm getting out of here.
Jack Wilson
Stand by
says
3
the
for
shooter
Elliot.
was wearing a fake beard and that he was being watched from the moment he walked into the church.
5.
Mireya Villarreal, CBS News,
Texas.
White Settlement, Texas.
And Q.
The Texas Attorney General believes security preparations made at the house of worship should be used as a model to prevent other church shootings.
Civil rights icon and Democratic Congressman John Lewis of Georgia has been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. His office announcing that grim diagnosis yesterday. The 79-year-old Lewis saying
Animation next to one
led to a
OTS.
series of tests that confirmed the disease. Lewis is planning to return to Washington, though, in the coming days to begin his treatment there as he continues his work in Congress. And now to the Trump presidency. President Trump will be in town here on Friday, where he plans to launch an Evangelicals for Trump coalition. That coalition is expected to organize evangelicals from all across the country.
All right, camera 2
support
shot
the president's
tease.
re-election.
Remember, no weather
The
tease.
event will be held on Friday at the King Jesus Church in Kendall.
Up next on CBS 4 News at 5, new video is believed to show the suspect in New York Hanukkah stabbing. Officials are responding to Saturday's attack on the religious gathering. Plus this.
And sounds out.
A deadly double shooting right outside of a tire shop in Northwest Miami.
Where it
Leon Creighton coming up. We'll have the latest on the investigation and what neighbors are telling us about the area here where it happened.
Q.
Then a terrifying scene caught on camera when a truck and a car wash suddenly reversed and smashed right into the car behind.
Thank you for making CBS 4 South Florida's #1 newscast at 5.
And break. Can you resave that 2 shot? It looks too wide.
Raul, there was the O'Shea fired. It has been added to the Monday after
O'Shea fire.
This 2 shot?
Yeah. Well, when I took it before, it was wide.
Well, it was. You just hit something and then it solidified and went to this shot.
That's weird. Because you saw in the tease, right? It was wide.
Yeah, it was wide.
It's the same code. I guess it was just acting goofy.
Well, I was just about to say it and then turned red. I went to that shot. So I'm not saying it.
So, what was that? You said you added something?
So she added another VO to Monday afternoon quarterback right before the first Dolphins. So it's 128, well, let's say like 128.
Alright, so it's done. I have to see something about this.
And Jim is aware, and now Elliot is aware, and you are.
It's just an added VO
Yeah.
for sports. Jim Barry's gonna read it. I have to check this real quick. See if this works. That one doesn't work. 5.2. PC4 was its own PC3, huh? PC3 is not sync. Yeah, no matter where you put it, PC3 doesn't work. Okay. Hey, when you guys get a chance, can you wipe balance camera 12?
Seconds.
30.
Fifteen seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
2, 1. And Q.
Now at 5, the man accused of stabbing 5 people during
Dramatic
a Hanukkah
pause.
celebration in New
Stand
York
by
is
on two.
facing federal charges. Tonight, authorities are increasing security in Jewish neighborhoods as they work to fight back against a string of potentially anti-Semitic incidents in and around New York.
So disturbing. We get more now from CBS 4's Naomi Muncho.
Family members say Grafton
Out
Thomas
of
has
this
a long history of
tagging
mental
camera
illness,
one,
but
two
has
died.
never been violent before. 37-year-old is now facing federal hate crimes charges for an attack at a rabbi's home in the New York suburbs, where more than 100 Orthodox Jews were gathered to celebrate Hanukkah.
Heavy bleeding. I need multiple radios of bleeding.
Police say Thomas stormed into the house with a
Heads up, when we
machete
get
and
to Jim
stabbed
Barry,
and injured
you
5
will be
people.
on the double box,
He was arrested
even during his
shortly
videos
after.
and stuff. So
According to
just
a
be
criminal
ready.
complaint, law enforcement found handwritten journals at his home, which included drawings of a Star of David and a swastika. A phone recovered from his car had repeated internet searches for why did Hitler hate the Jews. Thomas's attorney says his client is not anti-Semitic.
But there is no suggestion in any of those ramblings and pages of writing of an anti-Semitic motive, of any anti-Semitism.
Attorney Michael Sussman was joined by Thomas's mother. She did not speak, but a family pastor says she's never seen him as a violent person.
I've done visits with him at the house. He's always been a gentle giant with mental illness.
The area where the attack happened has a large Jewish population, and security is being increased.
Regardless of what the motivations are, regardless of what the investigation reveals, the fact of the matter is
No, it's just backwards. That's what it is. It
County
files backwards.
supervisors are now working with a private
See it?
security firm to provide free patrols in a largely Orthodox community.
Stand by.
Thomas will be back in court later this week. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
And police are also stepping up security in Jewish communities all across the country.
The investigation into Saturday's deadly plane crash in Louisiana is in the early stages, and investigators are struggling to collect evidence. They say the impact and fire destroyed so much of the wreckage that they're left with little to work with. The plane had just taken off from Lafayette when it hit the power lines and some trees before crashing. Investigators want to know why the plane drifted so low after takeoff, and why there were no distress calls made from the plane, and why there's no black box.
And sounds up.
There is no distress call that we were aware of. The
Theo continues out of this.
wreckage is in pretty tough shape between impact damage and fire damage. So there's not a lot to work with. Our people are experts though, and they will find it.
Thank you.
5 people, including the pilot, were killed in the crash.
Animation
One
of
other
3
person
next.
was pulled out of the wreckage by a bystander. He is in critical condition. Caught on camera in Massachusetts, where a car wash turned into a car crash. Surveillance video captured the incident, which unfolded after a pickup truck lost control and backed over a car in a self-service bay, crushing it.
Animation
of
one
the
next.
cab and the car and the truck's driver were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Officials believe the truck pedal may have become pinned under a floor mat.
Now at 5, a man from Daytona Beach who was wanted on several charges gave himself away while he was live streaming on Instagram. Not this smart. 20-year-old Kevin James was arrested last week after Volusia Sheriff's deputies tracked down his vehicle and could tell he was inside a home there because of his Instagram live feed. James has been wanted since November on grand theft and weapons charges.
Now, CBS 4 weather with meteorologist Lisette Gonzalez.
Well, happy final Monday of 2019. I know the weather has not been the best. We've had the clouds around and also some showers, and thankfully starting to see a little improvement out there as we check in from our CBS 4 camera. In Doral, still noticing some overcast skies as we look at the Miami skyline. In Miami, the high today was warm, 80 degrees and above our normal high of 77, although the record is 84, and we did wake up to a very mild, muggy start in the 70s. In Fort Lauderdale, the high 79. In Key West, we hit 85 degrees. Currently, temperatures in the upper 70s for Fort Lauderdale, Pompano Beach right now 80 degrees. In Miami, 79 in Kendall, upper 70s down to the Keys. The wind variable and calm even in some areas, including Fort Lauderdale, Homestead, and Marathon Light. And out of the east to southeast through Miami and Pompano Beach, and we're seeing the rain. The heaviest rain is offshore toward east over the Atlantic waters, over Bimini, but we are still dealing with a little bit of light shower activity that just pushed across Lighthouse Point. Also, we have some drizzle and shower activity around Miami Beach and beginning to push away from Key Biscayne. Thankfully, it's been nice and quiet in the Keys. Cold front is across the Panhandle. It'll continue to sag southward across our state, and it'll make its way towards our area as we head throughout the day tomorrow. High pressure building in behind that front, but it is still quite messy for our friends up in the northeast and New England areas. We're seeing not only the rain, but also wintry precipitation there, as well as some snow on the backside of this low pressure system through parts of the Midwest and into the northern plains. It's cold for the northern tier with 20s through Chicago, Minneapolis, Bismarck, 30s through St. Louis, Kansas City, and we're seeing 41 in New York City right now, 50s and 60s across the Gulf Coast states, 50s and 60s in California, 40s in the Pacific Northwest, and quite chilly with the 30s through parts of the Four Corners region for us tonight. Could see some spotty showers this evening, then overnight we'll see lows fall to the upper 60s. Patchy fog will be possible overnight into tomorrow morning. For boaters, wind southwest 5 to 10 knots, east 2 to 3, light chop on the bays. Tomorrow we could see some stray morning showers and then partly sunny skies. Temperatures right around 80 degrees. A few areas may sit in the upper 70s. But taking you through hour by hour, the model is showing this evening that we could see some more spotty showers, and then overnight looks to quiet down. In fact, even most of tomorrow, the rain chance is low. That's good news, especially as we get into tomorrow night for all the festivities. If you're heading out for New Year's Eve, around 8 p.m., 72, nice and dry. 10 p.m. around 69, we'll start that cool down. By midnight, we'll be ringing in the new year with the upper 60s and partly cloudy skies for the fireworks. And New Year's Day is looking fantastic as we'll be enjoying the upper 70s, seasonable highs. Thursday, 79, warming up Friday, 83. Some storms and showers Saturday ahead of another front. Could see lows in the 50s by Saturday night into Sunday.
Sounds great, Lisette. Thank you. And now it is time for a Monday afternoon quarterback. CBS 4's Jim Barry joins us live from Hard Rock Stadium. The site of tonight's matchup between the Florida Gators and the Virginia Cavaliers. But first, we want to talk Dolphins football. And Jim, some surprising news from the Dolphins today. Offensive coordinator Chad O'Shea has been fired after one season. Are you surprised?
Well, Elliot, these are the Dolphins we're talking about, so quite honestly, nothing really shocks me. But yeah, I guess I'm a little bit surprised.
Yeah,
especially considering how well the Dolphins looked yesterday in stunning New England in Foxborough, Massachusetts. But head coach Brian Flores did make the point that he was going to reevaluate all the coaches after the season. The Dolphin offense ranked 27th overall. They did struggle to run the ball, but in fairness to Chad O'Shea, boy, that roster was always changing. So I don't know what he expected him to do, but yes, that is the story. Chad O'Shea.
Point him to 3. Point Elliott to 3.
Coordinators that will be looking for somebody else.
Yeah, we don't have any running backs. Can't blame him for that. Jim, let me ask you about that sweet win over the Patriots yesterday. What's your biggest takeaway from that game?
That was a beautiful thing, and it showed just how far the Dolphins have come. You remember week 2, right here at Hard Rock Stadium, the Dolphins were embarrassed by New England, 43-0. So to see them come so far in a very tumultuous season really speaks to how this team has grown and responded to head coach Brian Flores. And you have to give it to him because yesterday they played better. They played with more urgency. Of course, Flores outcoached his mentor, Bill Belichick, and his team played with a sense of urgency. They made the clutch plays. They made the big plays. And in the fourth quarter, when the game was on the line, Ryan Fitzpatrick drove his team 75 yards for the winning touchdown. So hats off to the Dolphins. And look, it may sound kind of silly to say that a team that was 5-11 made a statement, but I think the Dolphins really did make a statement yesterday. And they said, you know what, our foundation for this reboot is rock solid. We do have a plan, and we're going to execute it going forward.
Well, yeah, it's nice to end the year on a winning note. How would you rate Brian Flores' first year in the NFL as a head coach?
You know, I think I'd probably give him a B+, and I'd break that into 2 parts of the season. The first half of the season, I'd give Flores a C because, look, the team was terrible coming out of the blocks, and I thought maybe he was being a bit too hardline with some of the better players on the roster and chased him away like Minka Fitzpatrick. But then, over the last couple of months, look, the Dolphins went 5-4 with the roster still churning, and they were very creative. Flores obviously played to win each and every weekend. His players said they would run through a brick wall for the guys, so they responded. So you have to like what you have seen the second half of the season. The Dolphins clearly seem to be trending in the right direction. The question now is, are they going to get the right kind of players in the draft and the free agency to really make this a contender? That is the million-dollar question right now.
All right, Jim, let's talk about college football. Of course, the Orange Bowl game tonight, Florida and Virginia. How do you see this game going?
Well, you know what? This is one big, giant Florida Gator tailgate party because we just came from the parking lot. This place holds 65,000 folks, Elliot, and I'll bet you that 60,000 of them are going to be Florida Gator fans. But this is a rare treat for them to have the Gators here. Only the 4th time they've played here in the Orange Bowl. And against Virginia, I don't think there's going to be much of a contest. The Gators, under Dan Mullen, have really turned things around. They've won 10 games 2 years in a row. Had they not lost to Georgia, LSU, who knows? They might be playing for something even bigger. Virginia started out hot. They were 5-0 at one point, but lost to the Canes, the same Canes that the Gators dominated in the season opener. So I think Florida wins this game easily, but it's still going to be a big party for all the Gator fans here in South Florida turning out to see Dan Mullen's team.
Okay, hope it works out well for the Gators and their fans. Jim, thank you very much.
2 by 7. And coming up next on CBS 4 News at 5 o'clock, crews continue the tedious task of recovering singer Mark Anthony's damaged yacht. Tonight we've got new video coming in as we learn just how long this job could take.
Also, find out what the most annoying word of the year is. It's been the reigning champion for more than a decade.
And then the final preps are underway for New York City's New Year's Eve extravaganza.
I'm Carly Barnett in the CBS 4 studios. Tomorrow on CBS 4 This Morning, from scandals to breaking records at the box office to one of TV's most popular shows taking a bow, we're taking a look back at the top entertainment stories of 2019. That and more when you join us starting at 4:30 on CBS 4.
And
How's that?
All right, this says 3:10, but our
Yeah,
thing
so
says
you're
3.
right in that trending.
3 minutes
So you're
now.
trending in your Okay.
Yeah, but the thing says 3 minutes. So it's 10. This is 10 seconds longer, right?
What is-
Randy?
what is?
This
The
break.
3:10, yes.
Because it says 3 in the rundown. That's what we're giving you to. He meant to do that.
Exactly.
Three. We'll do it on 3. Yeah, we'll do it on 3. Well, it's almost that time. You think you can get me that sunset on camera 12? It's weird. It was so rainy today, and then all of a sudden it's like no clouds. They must have rebooted the switcher. I'll have to load that up.
Seconds.
15.
15 seconds.
10.
10, 9.
Animation
8,
of 3
7,
next.
6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now to a CBS 4 consumer alert. UPS says return packages will hit a record high following this year's holiday shipping season. The package delivery company expects to process 1.9 million consumer returns on January 2nd. That's up 26% from last year. The National Retail Federation says more than 55% of shoppers plan to return or exchange unwanted gifts within a month of receiving them.
Now at 5:30, police are searching for a gunman after a deadly double shooting in northwest Miami-Dade. Investigators saying one man was killed and a second man was transported to the hospital with gunshot wounds.
The shooting happened outside a tire shop and a restaurant. CBS 4's Real Creighton is at the scene with the latest for us.
Multiple shell casings covered by evidence markers outside of a tire shop at Northwest 27th Avenue and 122nd Street. A deadly double shooting overnight. Police say they were called in just after 4 a.m. Sunday morning. Officers say they found 2 men with gunshot wounds. The CBS 4 camera there as one was loaded into an ambulance. The second victim rushed to Jackson's Ryder Trauma Center. Investigators say later died.
All I heard was pow pow. Then I heard pow pow. Somebody got hurt. I knew that was eventually going to happen.
Dale Jackson lives in the neighborhood. He says this kind of violence, sadly, wasn't unexpected. He and others who didn't want to go on camera pointing the finger at large, rowdy crowds that linger on weekends outside of a nearby gentleman's club and barbecue restaurant. And he said there are often arguments and sometimes gunfire. They say they have no suspects.
And then I'm missing 169.
Last check, the surviving victim was in stable condition.
3 next.
10 seconds. Number to Crime Stoppers is 305-471 tips. You do not have to give your name.
5.
Northwest Miami-Dade, Will Creighton, CBS 4 News.
We're getting a new look at the damage done to singer Mark Anthony's yacht that was destroyed by a fire nearly 2 weeks ago. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue video shows the damage on its side. It'll be towed out of the marina on Watson Island sometime in the near future. The NTSB is now investigating the fire, but so far there's no word on what caused the $7 million boat to go up in flames. Chapel 4 is over the scene of a nasty wreck on Interstate 95 this morning that had some northbound lanes shut down for hours. It happened on the northbound lanes near the Sheridan Street exit. Florida Highway Patrol says 4 cars were involved, but luckily there were only minor injuries. No word on what caused the crash. All lanes have since reopened.
Former President Jimmy Carter returned to his hometown church in Plains, Georgia for the first time since undergoing brain surgery last month. Yesterday, he sat with his wife Rosalind in the front row of their Baptist church. Mr. Carter typically teaches Sunday school there as well, but those lessons have been canceled during his recovery. The 95-year-old Carter, a survivor of both brain and liver cancer, is the oldest living former U.S. president.
Now the impeachment of President Trump. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is heading to Eastern Europe this week, and his first stop will be Ukraine.
Of course, that country is at the center of President Trump's impeachment. CBS 4's Skylar Henry is at the White House tonight with much more.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is headed to Ukraine.
Officials say Pompeo will meet with Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky later this week to reaffirm the United States' relationship with the country.
Leaders around the world understand that President Trump and his Secretary of State are focused on the missions that we've set out.
The New York Times is reporting that Pompeo and two others tried to talk President Trump out of withholding military aid to Ukraine in August, with John Bolton telling the president, "This is in America's interest." Mr. Trump responded, "Ukraine is a corrupt country. We are pissing away our money."
The new recording shows that there were serious concerns raised by Trump administration officials about the propriety and legality of what the president was doing.
Eventually, the military aid was released to help Ukraine in its war against Russia. President Trump spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin from his Florida home on Sunday. Putin has insisted that it was Ukraine and not Russia that interfered in the 2016 presidential election.
So for sure that's out?
A claim that President Trump has repeated.
Article 1 is adopted.
Democrats impeached President Trump because they claim he withheld the military aid in order to have Ukraine investigate former Vice President Joe Biden and his son. After the impeachment in the House, he now faces a trial in the Senate.
Camera 3.
Skyler Henry, CBS News, the White House.
And here's where we stand. The Senate has left the month of January open on the calendar to deal with the trial, but it cannot begin until House Speaker Nancy Pelosi actually delivers the articles of impeachment to the Senate. So look for much more on the impeachment.
Animation next to
tonight on the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. That's at 6:30 after CBS 4 News.
On to some happier news now, new at 5:30. Final preparations to ring in 2020, as you can imagine, are in full swing right now in New York City's Times Square. Crews have been testing the New Year's Eve ball all afternoon. On Tuesday night, 2 New York science teachers, along with 2 students, will flip the switch, dropping the ball and highlighting the issue of climate change. That ball is illuminated this year with more than 32,000 LEDs and decorated with more than 2,600 crystal triangles. Also, all weekend long, people have been stopping by the Wishing Wall at Times Square Plaza to write down their hopes for 2020 on the confetti that will rain down on the plaza at the stroke of midnight. This year's theme is the gift of goodwill.
Goodwill is all about benevolence, it's all about generosity, it's all about
Mio continues out of this.
It's about taking pause for just a second and celebrating that goodness that's in every single situation. This year is all about looking forward, celebrating a new year and a brand new decade.
And if you watch, you'll hardly be alone. More than 1 billion people around the world are expected to watch the ball drop in Times Square. For an entire year, we've brought you the stories that make Miami proud. And now, we'd like to share some of the ones that most touched our hearts and yours. Join us as we spotlight the people, organizations, and even the animals that inspired us to make our community a better place to live, work, and play. And what better way to start off your new year than with the best of what South Florida has to offer. Join us for our Miami Proud special, Wednesday at 5, only right here on CBS 4.
All right, coming up on CBS 4 News at 5, there are words that really, really irritate us. But find out what the experts say was the one word that annoys us the most.
And then the cat with a remarkable resemblance to Baby Yoda, who has the internet falling in love.
Plus, there are the stories that grab your attention.
Animation and sound mix.
We look back at their Florida connection, and here are the stories working on